Hey, hello. Welcome to a bonus episode of the People We Love podcast. I am Adam Choit. What's up? If you are new here, what I do is interview people from all walks of life, often comedians and other artists about their lives and careers. The conversation is casual, but I also ask everyone to highlight someone they love, someone who they admire, who influenced them, inspired them, supported them. For more, check out peoplewelovepodcast.com. That's peoplewelovepodcast.com, and the Instagram handle is the same, People We Love Podcast. And you can find me on Instagram as well, Adam Choit, my name. And remember to tap subscribe or follow on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. And of course, 5-star positive reviews on iTunes are greatly appreciated as well. So I called today's episode a bonus episode, like episode between 41 and 42, but it's not really a bonus episode. Really what it means is I don't have a guest this week. To be honest, I host 2 podcasts, have a full-time job. I'm trying to finish a short film, write a feature film, deal with the pandemic, and deal with unrest, family and friends, and have something of a social life as well. So what I'm saying is it's basically impossible to guarantee a episode with a guest every week. I can't book ahead. I try to book ahead. It's not going to happen right now. But I just try to go not too long without putting out an episode or an episode with a guest. Either way. So, yeah, I wanted to put out something for the time being. So what I'm going to do with this episode is basically, let me see where we were here. I'm gonna talk about the guests from episodes 42 through the latest, which is episode 85, and just sort of I'm clicking here around my computer. That's what you're hearing, but I'm going to just sort of highlight what jumps out at me from the episodes. Maybe it's not going to be the most profound thing from each episode, but usually what these will be is reminders, lessons, things I learned, just sort of what jumps out at me. I guess let's just get into it. What I'll do is I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go from episode 85 to back to 42 or whatever it was. So let's do it. Episode 85, Dave Merheje was the guest. I just admire that guy's hustle. Just listening to him talk about his like post-college, early comedy career, how he would sleep, for just 3 hours and go on these crazy trips to Michigan and back and forth. Like, I admire that hustle, and that sort of jumps out at me, as the kind of sacrifice and hard work I need to be putting in that I'm probably not. But anyway, moving backwards, 84, Aaron Weaver. How open he was about his mom and dad and his feelings. I admire how open he is, and that's something that's, I'm going to say, admirable. He was even open about the times when he wasn't feeling feelings as much and was able to recognize or come to the realization at some point that wasn't a good thing either. So just how open that dude was, and is with his feelings and emotions, or aspires to be, and just I admire that. Mike Menendez, I like how he marches to the beat of his own drum. I always think about how he didn't tell anyone when he was doing his first open mic, but not that it went well. But he's funny now. But just the idea that he would want to just have that natural reaction. And he's the type of person who recognizes when a path isn't for him and is able to change direction. So I admire that adaptability aspect, I suppose. Alex Pavone, this owner of a comedy club, I think it was his first time, he asked this owner of the club, "How did I do?" And he said, "Don't even ask me that question until you get on stage 500 times. This is a stand-up comedian. And I feel like that can apply to other areas of life and various pursuits. I mean, Alex got tons of reps on stage before, I guess, he became more pleased with his performance level. So it's like, you're not going to be fucking amazing at something when you tried for 2 times, for the first few times or first 100 times. I think there's a lesson in there. Episode 81, Kara Connors. What do I have here? Oh, she's talking about how I don't know if it was even about her specifically, but maybe it was like really every comedian, I imagine, for the most part. If you're bad at it and you keep going, you must love it, which is a good thing that's a good way to recognize if you love something. If you give an endeavor that you want to get better at, is that if you're bad and you somehow find a way to keep going, especially in a challenging profession like such as stand-up comedy. Episode 80, Floyd Condor. Just the way he talked about Jimmy Cuomo, the art director who he worked sort of under on a crew with, talking about Jimmy's leadership, looking out for his team, and also the leadership Floyd shows on sets too, on film sets and TV sets. I think leadership is something that was a theme that kind of was really a big part of that episode. Ali Zisfine. How about the importance of being honest about yourself, with yourself, and being self-deprecating? This is straight out of the episode. She described herself growing up as a slow learner, not a deep thinker, a bad singer, a bad swimmer, but she's funny. Episode 78, TK Coleman. This was really all about positivity, and not in a Pollyanna kind of way. Legit, tangible reasons to be positive about the world and yourself and your life. Stuff that's really important, I think, in today's world right now. And that dude is all about that stuff, and everything he says seems to just like strike a chord with me in a great way. 77, Clifford Nagorski. Keeping it real. The guy, I know that's kind of a repeating theme, but I really do appreciate all the personal things that Clifford shared with me, and I admire people who are open books. And it's not easy to be so vulnerable. Episode 76, Genevieve Joy. Just the idea of striving to become egoless. The way she talks about working with Gary Marshall, the famous producer, director, who was always the smartest and funniest person in every room. And maybe he even knew it, but he never made others feel less than. And he did the opposite. 75, Paige Weldon. Just the idea of family and friends being what makes your experiences in life greater. Whether it's appreciating dad's goofiness, mom's dark humor, or doing shows on the road with female comedian friends, it's the others around us that adds depth to our lives. Episode 74, Jeff Zanusek. Just the dedication to the craft. Jeff was always a great athlete, playing baseball growing up, and especially tennis he was quite skilled at and got pretty far in for sure. And to be a funny comedian, you have to show the same dedication. And I'm sure he applied those lessons from sports to comedy, and it shows. Episode 73, Darius Culpepper. Just the value of religion and or community. And while participating in church or being active and engaged in the community is a personal choice for some, I could see how Darius's family and church community helped shape who he became, which is a pretty good dude as far as I can see. Episode 72, Grant Lyon. Every year he makes a list of goals, and he always makes the list not too short where he accomplishes them all, but not too long where he doesn't accomplish enough. Yo, that shit makes sense. Episode 71, Faisal Lawrence. This just reminds me that life is a journey, his story in his episode, and maybe that's a cliche, but to hear all about that guy's ups and downs, and especially ultimately his successes, it makes the journey and his story to me one worth sharing, for sure. Episode 70, Lexi Grace. Just the idea of being a good, nice person. This shines through just about any time anyone talks to Lexi Grace, I would think. And I think of myself as a fairly decent person, But Lexi is on like another level, and you don't meet too many people like that. Episode 69, Veronica Kwiatkowski. How about something about the moment where you sort of realize that you're in your element and this is what you're supposed to be doing? Because I guess not everyone gets that, to find that or have that. And that's cool and something maybe she didn't discover by accident, but just the ability to recognize those sort of turning point moments in our life is, I guess, something cool about life. Episode 68, Alex Getlin. Just the idea of taking control of your own career and controlling what you can control. Just hearing him talk about how he would drive across country and book his own comedy shows and his own tour. Just taking matters into your own hands. That's cool. 67, Neil Ghosh. The way he describes his dad, CG, as he's challenging but supportive. He challenges him, but he's supportive. That's how he describes his relationship with his dad. And that's probably why he talked about his dad, and a big part of what makes his dad a good dad. 66, Elise Golgowski. She's just a badass who shoots guns and owns bows and arrows. But whether it's weaponry or her comedy, she's pretty badass. 65, Sean McBride. I just love to hear that guy talk about the road and the craft of comedy. And I think he likes to talk about those things for sure, like most comics, which is why I just can't say, I think of him as a comics comic, whatever that is. And I'm not authorized to really call anyone that per se, but that phrase comes to mind. Maybe I can be a podcaster's podcaster. 64, Matt Larson. It makes me think about the line of this sort of like line of being nice and not being a pushover and being bullied either. But hearing his honest stories where he struggled with this kind of thing, and it being something I could maybe kind of relate to a little bit. Again, I appreciate how honest some of these people are with me and what they share. 63, Chiara Montali. Just how she talked about improv and how she fell in love with it and was able to be free and be herself, and learning to be a good listener and be present. Just all those sort of skills and enjoyment she got out of improv. I think those are things that people need to find in other areas, even if they don't take improv. Those things are useful in life. 62, Tema Saul. She talked about how important it is to connect with people and large quantities of them too, to expand our horizons. I don't know if it's an entertainment business thing or a networking thing, but she said we're meant to meet as many people as possible, or as many people as possible, and that it's fun to meet new people. And I do think it gives our lives more depth as we impact others and they impact us on an ever-growing larger scale. Victor Trevino. These are mostly all comedians, by the way. Probably unless otherwise noted. But episode 61, Victor Trevino. He makes me think about the value, importance, and how I'm often drawn to styles that challenge conventions and preconceived notions. These are the things that come to mind when I think of the conversation I had with Victor, and when I think about his comedy too. Episode 60, Kyle Reel. Just the importance of being funny and as a human being and enjoying humor. And what makes me think of that is how he used humor to fit in school. But really, it's a great way for people to connect and maybe even bridge gaps. I live in a dream world. Anyway, 59, Ryan O'Toole. Just how about some love for single dads? Single dads don't really get a lot of praise, love, attention, even if and when it's deserved. They're kind of a forgotten group of people. perhaps in society. But it's cool how Ryan and his dad did martial arts together. I think that's awesome. Episode 58, Christine Little. How about a reminder that friendship can spring from unexpected sources, like a friendship with a girl who you got in a fight with and had to spend time with in school suspension. 57, Adri Diaz. How about the value of lifelong friendships and even traditions? There's a reason why humans tend to value traditions and are even maybe innately drawn to holding them, or some, depending on who you are. But anyway, she takes a photo with her friend Mackenzie Modal every year at McDonald's of them eating fast food together. And there's been about 9 or so photos, and those are the things that make life what it is. I know that's really general, but I think you know what I'm saying. 56, Morgan J. I just think it's hilarious how he gave everyone discounts at the Apple Store when he worked there. Funny and a bit rebellious and good to other people. I guess I got a lot out of that, just that one gesture. 55, Justin James. Just the thought about, just the idea of, how we might need a break from life sometimes. Just hearing him talk about how he moved to the mountains in Colorado for half a year to reflect and even yell, in his own words. But I think we all need to find our mountains to yell into to help us recalibrate from time to time. 54, Mark Sipka. He went from basketball bench warmer to becoming his high school's unofficial mascot. And that says a lot right there. He knows who he is. He's bold, has fun, and I guess has the ability to turn lemons into lemonade. Sean Hyatt. How about being humble and the importance of that? That's what really shines through when talking to Sean. Plus, he's a funny dude, too. Just looking over these notes from past episodes makes me realize how funny so many of these people are. Quote from Sean: "I couldn't let my identity be a bowler and a tuba player." That's what I'm seeing here. That makes me laugh, even though bowlers and tuba players are cool, I think. Well, maybe cool isn't the word. 52, Samara Choit, my sister. Although this one's really about grandparents and family, the way she talks about music and its real power of healing and helping people cope with life, that's like a real thing. And people should know that. 51, Kyle Anderson. He talks about the importance of his parents encouraging him and feeding his curiosity and interests when he was really young. Talking about taking an audio sound engineering class with grown men when he was 7. It was cool to hear those funny stories, but they're profound too. 50, Oscar Lemus. Oh man, just the story about him bringing the No Strings Attached NSYNC album to class that one day for like a show and tell type thing, but then not wanting to share it because he thought he might get made fun of, and then he started crying as people were sort of trying to get him to take out the album, and then no one remembered really this afterwards or ever brought it up. So I think that's just a reminder that we make a bigger deal of some moments in our life and think other people are thinking about it and care, but life usually does go on. 49, Samson McCormick. Just that dude's story is straight up inspirational. Talking about how he was homeless with his mom for many years to where he is now, a very successful, hilarious comedian. 48, Mitch Holloman. He reminds me, through talking about Victor Trevino, actually, that stand-up comedy is not just for laughs and not just for entertainment. That it's a form of expression. 47, Geneva May. Ian Brecky, her teacher, helped her understand what it meant to share art. And that helped her not be as nervous. He told her that she should just be a vessel for the music to travel through. It's not about her. It's not about you, he said. It's about the music. She loved his demeanor, calm and collected personality. And that helped her. But really the vessel, just the idea of being a vessel and maybe what you're creating being maybe not necessarily bigger than you, but existing outside of you in a sense, and you serving that, the idea and the art itself. 46, Mallory Jean Fusella. There's the idea that we could be seemingly different people or have different versions of ourselves, and that's perfectly fine, even simultaneously. Just thinking about the way she would entertain kids being a yo-yo performer during the day, but at night telling dirty jokes at a comedy club. And both are equally the real Mallory, I would think. 45, Brent Sullivan. He said he was at peace with his cantankerous self. I don't know that I'd describe him that way, but in all seriousness, I suppose, self-awareness, being self-deprecating in a funny, charming way is cool. And I'm down with all that. 44, Willie Simon. He talked about Jimi Hendrix in his episode, and he made the connection between music and comedy, and really just live, the thought of what live performance really is all about. It's, like connecting with people in the room, but literally you're sort of synced up in a deeper way than that. And that's, something that you can feel and experience through music or comedy or other art forms. And he talked about how perhaps maybe, the way Jimi Hendrix or a way a musician might, is communicating through their instrument, but the comedy and the voice, in the case of a comedian, is their instrument. 43, Kevin Simons. I remember him talking about, being an actor and working on Parks and Rec, and just how everyone on set and all the performers were so supportive, and how it all stemmed from Amy Poehler and her demeanor on set, and everyone else was cool. Just reminds you that all celebrities are not terrible people all the time, and they're good people working in this industry too. 42, Sonia Elsey. I just think it's brave how she shares her life and herself on her YouTube channel. I still struggle with the notion that I need to put out video content for this podcast to make it more, to have a better chance at success. And part of that is just me hiding in the shadows and being fearful of probably what other people think and what they'll say and whatever. But she's been putting herself out there for years, so a lot of respect for that. And that is all of the episodes now, because I covered sort of what inspired me about episodes 1 through 41 in an older bonus episode between 41 and 42. But I think that's about all I got for this episode. Maybe if I jot down what inspires me about everyone, it will that shit will all sink into me and make me better at life. Just a thought. If even a small percent of the lessons I can gain out of these episodes are actually taken to heart by me and applied, that won't be so bad. But anyway, for everything about this show, of course, head to peoplewelovepodcast.com. Thanks again for listening. You guys are cool to make it all the way through this episode. Shorter one, because it's just me, of course. But enjoy the rest of your day or evening, and let's talk soon. Peace.